Hello, Hopper class, and welcome to your second science for this week. So today is our observation day. So remember, every week we are going to be observing our bean plant and be taking our measurement and observing what we see. So are you ready to see my bean plant this week? Now, can you remember how tall was our bean plant last week? Do you remember? It was only, turn that around. It was only 2 centimeters, so just that big. Are you ready to see what it looks like today? Here it is. Well, I'm going to move back so you can see. Look at that. Not only has it grown, I've also got another one. So do you remember last week we saw another one poking through? So this is definitely higher than 2 centimeters. Should we give it a measure? So what do we use to measure our bean plant? Do you remember? That's right, we use our ruler. So I'm gonna have to move the camera down so we can see this. So I'm gonna put my ruler in, make sure it's down right at the 0 where I can see. Here we go. And I'm just gonna do it to where, oh, move the camera up now. Oh, I'm just gonna do it to where the top is. I'm not gonna do it to the leaves. I'm only just do it to right here. So let's see how tall our bean plant is today. Wow! 20 centimeters. Can you believe that? 20 centimeters. Let's see if we can figure that out. So let me write it down. This week, our bean plant is 20 centimeters high. Last week, our bean plant was 2 centimeters high. Do you know the difference? Do you know how much it's grown? So last week, we had 2 centimeters. So we could either start at 2 and count on to each 20, or we can take away the 2 centimeters because that's how much we already had. So what is 20 centimeters take away 2 centimeters? Well done, 18 centimeters. So our beanstalk has grown 18 centimeters. So let me share my screen so we can fill out our observation sheet. So here I have my observation sheet. So we are now, this is week, whoops, get a pen. This is week 3. So I'm going to write 3 here. This is week 3. And I've already drawn my picture. So here we have our big 20 centimeter one. And then we have our other one. And there's my castle. Do you think my beanstalk made it to the top of the castle? I did. So let's put our measurement. So we still have that there are 2 plants still. Let's move that down here. Oh. So the one that we are measuring is now 20 centimeters. Fantastic. So I'm going to put that 20 centimeters right next to it so I can see. So these are our observations over time. This is our working scientific skill that we need to learn how to do. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so one more look at this amazing beanstalk. Look at that. And just think, we still have another week to go. I wonder how high it's going to be in another week. So exciting. So let's carry on now to our science lesson for today. So once you've done your observation for week 3, then you can watch the next part. So our learning objective is today is, can I identify where food comes from? Now here I've got lots of pictures of food. So look at these meals. How are they made? And what are they made from? So we've got soup, broth, stew, curry, roast, fish and chips, kebab, meatballs, omelette, stir fry, pasta, green salad, rice. There's lots and lots of foods here. But how are they made? And what are they made from? And that's what we're going to be looking at today. And our focus is going to be looking at plants. Now, let's see. Do you know this song? It is oats, peas, beans, and barley. Would you like to sing it with me? So here it goes. Oats, peas, beans, and barley grow. Oats, peas, beans, and barley grow. Can you or I or anyone know how oats, peas, beans, and barley grow? First the farmer sows the seed, then he stands and takes his ease, stamps his foot and claps his hands and turns around to view his hands. Next the farmer waters the seed, then he stands and takes his ease, stamps his foot and claps his hands and turns around to view his land. Next the farmer hoes the weed, then he stands and takes his ease, stamps his feet and claps his hands and turns around to view his land. Last the farmer harvests the seeds, then he stands and takes his ease, stamps his foot and claps his hands and turns around to view his land. Well done. Now, if you noticed, we have a lot of words in there that we've also been doing in English. So we have first, next, and we could probably have put in there finally. So if you want, you can Google oats, peas, beans, and barley grow, and you can listen to the song again as well. So first, let's have a look at a piece of bread. Now, if you have a spare piece of bread, you can do this as well. But if not, then you can just look with me. So I have got a piece of bread. Now, this is brown bread or whole wheat bread. So what is it made from? Let's see. Do you know what bread is made from? So I'm going to break it apart. I'm going to look at it. Let's see. If I look really closely, see there's there's air. You can see it's light and fluffy, and there's little flecks in there. Do you know what it's made from? Let's see. It smells nice. Have a deep look. Have a look inside our bread. So do you know what bread is made from? Have a think. Can you tell me? Well done if you had said yes. Bread is made from flour, and there's a special ingredient that makes the dough rise, and that is called yeast. And so we use flour and water, a bit of oil, maybe some yeast and a bit of salt, and we make a dough, and then we cook the dough and it makes bread. I've been making a few bits of bread during the lockdown with my sons, and it's really, really fun making bread. So yes, bread is made from flour. So how do we make flour? How do we have flour? So first we start with a plant. So the plant that we start with is wheat. So wheat grows in a field, and this is what wheat looks like in the field. And then when you harvest the wheat, you get all these parts of the wheat. And like in fee, fi, fo, fum, you grind up the wheat and it turns into flour. So that is what bread is from. Bread is from flour, and it's from wheat. So that is what the flour looks like at the end. But this up here, this is the plant. Wheat is the plant that flour comes from. So how bread is made. So first you have the tractor, the farmer, they have to sow the seed, sow the wheat, then they harvest it, which means they take off all the wheat and make it, they put it in the storing grain. So they store the grain, and then they turn it into flour, and they bring it to a bakery, or the baker makes the dough, and then it cooks. So next week in science, just a heads up, we are going to be making flapjacks. So today we're going to be learning about all the different ingredients that you need in flapjacks and the different plants that the ingredients come from. So before you continue, on the task sheet this week, there were some science videos. So can you watch the video on how to make flapjacks, how oats are made, and how sugar is made? And then you can continue on with this lesson, okay? So what are the ingredients of flapjacks? Now, put your hand up if you've heard of any of these ingredients. So have you heard of oats? Now, you might have heard of porridge. Now here, oh, I want to get on my computer. Here, with my hand, these are oats, and you can see from my package here, yeah, it says porridge oats on it. So yeah, flapjacks are made from oats. What about butter? Have you heard of butter? Does butter come from a plant? No, that's right. Butter comes from milk. So we aren't going to be learning about butter today. What about sugar? Have you heard of sugar? I'm sure you have. And if you watch from that video, sugar comes from a plant as well. And syrup also comes from sugar. So we're going to be looking at oats and sugar and the different plants that they come from. Which of these have you tasted? Have you tasted porridge before? Have you had sugar? Have you had any syrup? They taste nice, don't they? Where do these foods come from? So we are going to be looking at these ingredients that come from plants. So first, let's look at some oats. So oats, just like flour that makes bread, oats come from a plant. And the plant gets harvested and it gets made into these oats. So it starts with a plant and then in the farmer's field, and then it gets harvested and produced into oats. Where do we see oats in food? So you might have oatmeal. These are the flapjacks. You can make muffins. You can make lots of different types of pancakes or flatbreads with oats. So oats are made from a plant. They are made from the oat plant here. So it starts out green, and then as the season goes on, it harvests, it changes, and then when it's harvest season, the farmer is able to pick the oats and make them into these oats that we use in our foods. So oats come from the plant. Sugar. Where does sugar come from? Now, I bet you didn't know that sugar came from a plant. So after watching that video, you can see that sugar comes from sugarcane or sugar beets. So here are the two plants, and here we have, this is the sugar cane. And so it comes from a plant, and then people produce it into sugar. So these are lots of different types of ingredients that come from sugar. So we have brown sugar, we have syrup, we have white sugar, we have brown sugar, lots of different types of sugar, but it comes from a plant. So sugar comes from a plant, just like oats come from a plant. So some plants give us fruit. So can you think of 5 fruits and where they grow? Let's have a think. Now, I have a picture here of strawberries. So obviously, strawberries comes from a strawberry plant. What about some other fruits do you know? What about blackberries? They come from a bush, don't they? And what about an orange? An orange comes from a tree, an orange tree, and a tree is a plant. And we have lots of apples. Apples are fruit and they come from a tree, an apple tree, and an apple tree is a plant. So if you see a lot of fruits grow on a plant, and that is where we get our fruit from. They might grow on a bush, they might grow on a plant, they might grow on a tree. So fruits can grow on trees and bushes and plants, and they are all plants as well. Some plants give us vegetables. Name 5 vegetables and where they grow. So here I've got a picture of beans. So we know beans come from a beanstalk. What about lettuce? Lettuce comes from the plant, the lettuce plant. And you might think of pumpkins. Have you ever grown a pumpkin? So a pumpkin comes from a plant and it's got long vines on it, just like squash. And zucchinis or cucumbers hang down from a plant. So all those vegetables, they come from plants as well. So fruit and vegetables come from plants. What about popcorn? Have you ever been in the cinema and had popcorn, or have you ever made it at home? Where does popcorn come from? Do you know? Popcorn. All right, some of you said popcorn seeds. Yes, of course. So these are the corn seeds, but where do they come from? They come from maize, from corn on the cob. So if you've ever had corn on the cob, that is corn, that's maize. So here in the field, you'll have this corn on the cob, and you, the farmers can take it and they can keep it as a corn on the cob. They can sell it. They can take it into their storehouse and they can shred all the bits of corn on it. And that's where you get canned corn or creamed corn or bags, frozen corn, or they can take it and make it into popcorn seeds. So popcorn comes from a plant. It comes from maize, from corn. So your activity today is I want you to have a look around your kitchen and see if you can find some different foods made from plants. You can take a picture or a video and you can show me on Tapestry. So I forgot to grab you mine. Let me grab you mine. I knew there was something I forgot. So these are some things I found around my house. So have you ever seen these before? My kids really like these. And if I was to look at the ingredients, so you look at what they're made from, apples, that's a plant. Pears, that's a plant. Strawberries, that's a plant. So these come from fruit, okay? So these are made from plants, from fruits. What about, I have some crackers. So if I was to look at the ingredients, I might say wheat flour. Now, do you remember? Bread comes from flour and from wheat, and that's a plant. So there we go. And it says here, let's see, anything else here? Oh, sugar cane syrup. I didn't know there was sugar in crackers, but yes, I know that sugar comes from a plant. And white rice flour, there's some flour. So I know these come from a plant. And these are similar to what we're going to be making next week, granola bars. But yeah, we have granola bars, and these are oats and honey. So I know oats, whole grain oats. I know they come from a plant. Sugar, I know that comes from the plant, sugar cane. And anything else in here that I know of? Honey. Now, honey doesn't necessarily come from a plant. It comes from bees, doesn't it? So I want you to have a look around your kitchen, see if you can find some foods and see what plant they come from. Now, just a heads up, next week, so on the 3rd of February, we'll be making flapjacks for science. So if you're able to get some oats and some sugar or some syrup or honey, here are the ingredients that we need. If you are able to get those for next week, then you will be able to make the flapjacks with us, okay? Now, the final thing is here are some other foods that we eat and what plants they are from. So if you go on this dkfindout.com website, you can then go on there and it clicks on the different foods and it tells you where they are from, okay? So I hope you've enjoyed learning about food, where it comes from, different plants it comes from. And the next time that you have maybe a jam sandwich, think about, where does this come from? I know my bread comes from flour, which is a plant. Where does my jam come from? Where does my strawberry jam come from? Strawberry jam is made from strawberries. Strawberries, a plant, and from sugar. I know sugar is from sugar cane, which is a plant. So think about the food that you eat and see if you can tell me the different plants that your food is from. Okay? Bye.